Good morning. Did you know that the quality of our communication skills is directly related to our happiness, well-being, and fulfillment? Think about that for a minute. The quality of our communication skills is directly related to our happiness, our well-being, and our own personal fulfillment. I found that this statement was true quite a few years ago now. And the reason is this. When we speak with confidence and clarity and conviction from the heart, unabashedly, not worried about how people are going to perceive you, we feel satiated as human beings. We feel fulfilled. We feel happy on the inside because we're connecting and building those beautiful bridges with another human being. Many people think that because I'm touted as Australia's #1 public speaking coach by Yahoo Finance, people think that I teach people how to be professional public speakers or TED talkers. That in itself is a tiny piece of what I do, a tiny piece. The most important thing that I do is helping people speak up and speak out with confidence, clarity, and conviction. When we cannot do that in life, we don't feel right. We don't feel heard. We don't feel valued. We don't feel respected. So today I'm going to take you through 3 easy steps in a holistic way, because that's my jam, to help you improve your public speaking skills. Let's say hello to people. We've got some people joining us. We here live on Instagram. We are here live on Facebook, and we are here live on YouTube. Now, hopefully you can see and hear me because we had some tech issues last time. Good morning. Good morning. It's lovely to see you, Ice. Thank you for joining us. And Chris, good morning on Facebook from Belgium. And thank goodness I have these beautiful people that join me every week, because otherwise I wouldn't have known that I had a silent mime show last week for about the first 5 to 7 minutes, which was pretty silly. But these things happen. It's live. Anything can happen. Now, if you're new to this space and you don't know who I am, my name is Elisa James. I'm a holistic voice and presentation coach, and I live in Sydney, Australia. I absolutely love what I do. I help people from all walks of life break through their emotional, physical, and mental blockages to self-expression so they can live a happy and fulfilling life. That is so important to me. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. Forget becoming a TED Talk speaker for a moment. Just put that goal aside if that's a dream for you. Fantastic. But let's look at what's going on behind the scenes first. The way, if you ever look at my logo, it's a triangle with a butterfly floating through it. And there's a very good reason for that. The Pythagorean theorem from thousands of years ago, and yes, the mathematician, he was also a holistic healer, which is super interesting. The 3 sides of the Pythagorean triangle, according to healing, is physical, emotional, and mental attributes of self. When I learned that, I thought, oh my God, everything I do with speaking, singing, and acting has to take into consideration those 3 elements: mental, emotional, and physical. When we don't take into account all of the elements around public speaking and expression, there's going to be something missing. A great example of that is when somebody speaks flat in a monotone sort of way. If you're speaking really flat like a drone and then you sound like a robot when you speak, believe me, that is not a voice issue. That is a mindset and mental or physical issue around psychology and emotions, belief systems, building up. All the psychology behind the sound is what I absolutely love, because when we understand what's holding us back, we can start to move forward in a much more powerful way. And that's why I'm very different to other speaker coaches, because a lot of speaker trainers and organizations, big organizations all around the world, they teach anybody how to deliver your content and how to write a speech or a TED Talk. Great. But guess what? You can teach anything you like to anyone. They can learn all the intellectual understanding of speech, voice, singing, acting, whatever. But if they don't have the belief system, if they don't believe in themselves, if they have some sort of psychology that's holding them back, they're not going to actually take that first step and move into action ever. And that's why we have to start, whether we like it or not, with psychology. So let's dive in today. We've got 3 comments here. I'm going to go into good morning. Oh, virtual hug. I love that virtual hug, virtual hug. Thank you so much. Hello, it's lovely to see you here. Thank you for joining us live. That's awesome. Thank you for joining us. That is so, so, so sweet. Great, fantastic. We've got some people live. Now, remember, because we are live, and I'll be live for the next 15, 20 minutes or so, please, if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, allow StreamYard to see your comments. That way I can show them, if they're clean and non-political, I will show them on the screen and I'll give you a shout out. Now, I've got a special giveaway today, so stick around because at the end of this, I'm going to give away a ticket to my workshop for half price. Now, this is a very small investment anyway, but there's a great workshop that I want to tell you about very, very soon. So it's, you're very, very welcome. It's so lovely to have you here. Thank you for joining us. Now, let's look at this first. I'm going to give you 3 tips to improve your public speaking today. You can see a lot of stuff on my channel, but this is live. So the difference is while I'm teaching, you have an opportunity to ask questions, which I absolutely love. Number 1, false belief that holds people back is this. People think that speaking, singing, and acting, all the things that I did for 35 years as a career, is a God-given talent. There's a tiny bit of truth in that sometimes, but not when it refers to speaking. Here's the thing. If you have been gifted a voice box, if you have been gifted a voice box and you're born with a perfectly working instrument, in other words, your respiration function is working well, your phonation system is working well, and you've been gifted a voice box and articulators, there is no excuse. You, my friend, can be a brilliant communicator and confident public speaker. That's all you need. So you might think, oh, God-given talent. I remember somebody in a webinar a few months ago saying, oh, that's why you're so good, because you were born to do it. It's in your blood. That's not true. Yes, I had the desire to be on stage as an actor and a singer when I was a little child. From the minute that I was born, I knew that I had that desire. I have no idea why. That desire was put into my heart as I came into this world. I don't know why. A lot of people do that. My brother, for instance, had the desire to become a pilot. So he focused on that focusedly, if that's a word. Anyway, he became a pilot at a very young age because that was his dream. I became a performer at a very young age because that was my dream. Did I have talent? A tiny bit. But you know what? The truth of that is, it's 99% perspiration, 1% talent. And that is the truth. I had to work really, really hard as a singer and an actor because I wasn't the best. I wasn't the next Whitney Houston or the next Meryl Streep. I wasn't. I was good. And I had a really great career out of that because I was good. I worked as a skill. I had trainers from all over the world. I worked really hard. That has got nothing to do with talent. I've met loads of talented people who are absolutely not famous and never, ever had a career in show business. And I think that that's just a tragedy because they had the talent, but they didn't follow through on it. Now, I've seen lots of people with massive talent who got nowhere. So, you know, there's 2 sides to the equation. But if you have a little bit of talent, even a tiny bit, and you have a desire in your heart, hard work and determination will get you the rest of the way. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. My hair is all over the place today. Just checking the comments. Okay, number 2. This is just as important as number 2. Now, number 2, sorry, my hair's a bit dirty today. It's all over the place. This is the way I speak. I can't change it. This is what I hear from a lot of people when they come to me for a speaker training, that they think that because I speak like this is the way I'm going to speak forever and you just have to get over it and that's it. Well, if you have any sort of affectation in your voice, like I just produced just then, there's somebody drilling outside. I'm sorry about that, but there's nothing much I can do. That's really annoying. Can you hear that? Nothing I can do about that. My microphone's on. It's probably picking up all the drilling, which is annoying. When you sound a certain way when you speak, it's just that. It is from your cultural background and the makeup of your genetic face, absolutely, of your muscles and things. But here's the biggest thing that you don't know. Nature is only part of it. Nurture is the other part. So yes, we can't change our nose, our teeth, our soft palate, our hard palate, the size or shape of our instrument. Sure, we can't change that. But what we can change is how we use our teeth, our tongue, our lips, our jaw, our resonators, our power system, our volume, our pitch. There's so much that we can change. If you have a nasal sound and it's annoying to people, you can change that. If you have a throaty sound and it's really annoying and you're losing your voice, you can change that. There's so much about voice you can change. There's a reason why singers and actors at the beginning of their career study really hard with an expert, with a mentor, because they don't have the skill. They only have a tiny bit of talent. The skill has to be learned. It has to grow. You have to take hold of that skill. Remember, 10,000 repetitions to mastery? It takes a while to learn a skill. I remember years ago when I was a child, as a teenager and starting to sing professionally, I had to learn these two very important distinctions. And sorry, I'm going off on a tangent, but this is super important. The difference, if you know this, I'm not going to tell you the answer just now. This is a quiz. Do you know the difference between an amateur singer and a professional singer? See if you can know the difference. Who knows the difference between an amateur singer and a professional singer? Quick, type it in the chat. I don't want to wait all day to answer see if we got an answer. Who knows the difference between a professional singer and an amateur singer? Type it in the chat. Let's see what you got. Because I guarantee you'll get it wrong. Let's see. Type it in the chat. If you're here and you're seeing this and you're listening to it, type it in the chat. Now, I'm going to tell you, an amateur singer practices until they get it right. I would say that a public speaker would do exactly the same. An amateur public speaker will practice until they get it right. But here's the thing. A professional will practice something until they cannot get it wrong. Write it down. This is so important. When I realized that as a very young singer, it changed everything, because I would practice a song until I knew it, until I could just sing it, until I could get it right. But then I didn't realize that when I've sung that song 100 times in front of an audience, that's when all the finessing and the beautiful stuff starts to happen within that song, because you can play and tweak and explore all of it in such a more beautiful way. It becomes 100 times better and much more congruent. So yes, you can sing it professionally every time and not get it wrong, but you can also find these beautiful nuances that you didn't have the ability to find before because you were just learning it. That's the true mastery piece of what we do as expressors in life, singers, actors, and speakers. Ooh, experience and knowledge. Yes, you were so on track. I'm so glad that you joined in this game. I want you to write that down, guys. So we practice until we can't get it wrong. Now let's move on, because there's lots that I want to teach you today. False belief number 3. I don't feel comfortable, and so therefore I'm not meant to be a speaker. This is such a common belief that I get from people when they're in business, like me. If you're in business and you have a brand and you have a website, or you're a coach or a service provider of some sort, guess what? You have to be a good speaker on camera, on stage, in the boardroom, in a presentation, on webinars, wherever you need to promote and market your brand. You need your voice. You need your face. You need to show up as that leader in that space. Ooh, that rhymed. I could write a song. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to rhyme. That's for lots of fun. What I want you to understand is this is a skill. It's not a talent. When we feel uncomfortable, of course you're going to feel uncomfortable and not be good at something in the beginning, because we're not good at it in the beginning. I couldn't tie my shoelaces the first time that my mother taught me how. I probably had to do that 10, 15, 20 times until I really got the hang of it. I had to, in a circus, when I was traveling with a circus. Yes, I have a very colorful past. When I was 16, I got into a very big traveling circus. It was called Barnum and Bailey. And one of the skills that I had to learn as a singer, dancer, actor, trapeze artist in this circus was also juggling and riding a unicycle. Oh my God. If you've ever learned how to ride a bike and you know how hard that is, riding a unicycle is 100 times harder. I had the unicycle and a wall every single day for an hour, every single day, 7 days a week. I rode that unicycle along the wall until I mastered it. It took me 6 weeks of practicing 1 hour a day to be able to go around the stage in a big circle and then go off again without falling off. That's how hard it was for me. Now, some people picked it up quicker. I was a bit slow on the unicycle. But, these things, I still mastered it, even though I wasn't one of those people that could just juggle and stand on the spot doing the unicycle, going backwards and forwards. That's amazing. I could never do that, but I didn't put the time in to get to the next step. That's the only reason why I didn't master that. That drilling is so annoying. I'm so sorry about that. You've got a big delay. Yeah, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. This is what happens when we have people joining us from all over the world. Yeah, so Chris says preparation. Yes. And so part of that, Chris, you got the answer partly right. Absolutely. So false belief number one was is public speaking or any singing, acting, speaking talent is a God-given talent? Absolutely not. It's a skill. Number two is this is the way I speak. I cannot change it. Yes, you can. Just because you're speaking like this or singing or acting like this now doesn't mean it's going to be that way forever. If you get the right coach and a right mentor and you practice until you can't get it wrong, you will become a better speaker. Number three is I don't feel comfortable. I'm not meant to be doing this. Here is a very important thing. When we feel uncomfortable about something, when there's something niggling in us and we want to run away, there is your answer. You never run away from something that you're fearful of. And I'm not talking tigers, spiders, those things that would kill us, because we don't live in that world anymore most of the time. What we're talking about here is shutting down, hiding, and avoiding something that we're uncomfortable with, because that's where the growth happens. I want you to write that down, and I want you to make sure that you understand this. This is where the growth happens, in that uncomfortable feeling. I would never, ever have had a 35-year career in show business if I allowed my uncomfortable feelings that first time to stop myself from auditioning or stepping on that stage. I felt uncomfortable for years, seriously, to the point where I would faint. I would have wind issues. I would want to run away. My voice would shake. It was a nightmare. But you know what? My desire and my passion to help people and to entertain and get over it was even more strong than my nerves and my capability of hiding. You have to go where that uncomfortable feeling is. Wherever that's like, this doesn't feel right, go there. Go there and conquer it. And then once you conquer it and you get up there and everything changes for you, you will feel amazing. The greatest thing about speaking your truth, speaking with authenticity, is that afterwards you know you did the right thing. You know that speaking up is going to change your life or change somebody else's life. No joke. When you speak from the heart with good intention, you can change your own life and somebody else's. And that's the biggest reason that I do what I do as a coach. Believe me, I get very emotional about this. Let's just quickly, watching from Argentina. Oh, how wonderful. That's awesome. What time is it there? It must be day before. It must be yesterday. It's a good day today, if you're wondering. So now let's type in, you're watching this on the Voice of Confidence TV. We're actually going to dive into the 3 tips right now. Sorry, it's taken me a while to get there, but it will be absolutely worth it, I guarantee. Tip number 1 is emotional. Tip number 2 is physicality. And tip number 3 are verbal patterns. We're going to go through all of them today. And I'm going to be keeping this up on my channel for a few weeks so you can really understand and rewatch this content. The channel is called The Voice of Confidence TV. Now, tip number 1, the emotional connection. When people are disconnected from their emotion, They cannot speak with the full range of color in their voice. What I call is vocal tonality or vocal variety and prosody. All of those things. Prosody is the musical inflections that we speak with in voice. When we speak with our full coloring box, if you like, with all the colors of the rainbow, your voice becomes very interesting to listen to and very engaging to listen to. But if your psychology and your mindset, your emotions are affected so badly by trauma or anxiety or something like that, you're going to be speaking very deadpan and very carefully. And that is not engaging. When we speak, and believe I used to be a zombie. Believe me, I used to be a zombie. And I used to speak like this all the time with no emotion and no emotion whatsoever is the greatest way to say it. I really felt like a zombie. I was going through life like a zombie because I was so wounded and hurt from the past that I was carrying all that so heavy that it made my voice very heavy and very throaty. And interestingly enough, in that time, about 25, 30 years ago now, I lost my voice all the time. Interesting, huh? Interesting, I had thyroid issues. The thyroid gland is right behind the voice box. I had emotional issues. I was very, very fearful of being judged, and I lost my voice a lot. I didn't believe that I had a voice to speak up with. I couldn't find my true, authentic voice of confidence. I didn't have it. I pretended for a little bit and then went back into my shell. It was the worst feeling ever because as a performer, I felt very disingenuous, very incongruent with what I was doing. People would say, "Oh, you're so confident." And I would get off stage and think, "Oh my God, if they had any idea." And I never told people what I was struggling with. It is so sad. When we speak with all of that lack of vocal variety, that's what's going on the inside. I guarantee you that there's something that's holding you back emotionally. So we have to look at that emotional connection first. What is my belief system? What am I thinking? What am I feeling? What's going on here? You've got to be able to address all of that first. And then when you come out and you want to speak to somebody with good intention, this connection to your heart is your superpower. It's absolutely your superpower. If you connect with your heart, put your hand on your heart and think about your intention of this conversation with somebody. Your intention, if you're a good person with a good moral compass, you're not going to have an intention to hurt somebody. You're not going to have an intention to cut them down or chastise them or criticize them because we're here on this planet to connect with other human beings. So focus on that. Don't focus on, how the other person is going to perceive you, how the other person is going to be pissed off if you say the wrong thing, or if you don't want to live in fear. A life lived in fear is a life half lived. If you ever want to see a good inspirational movie, watch Strictly Ballroom, Baz Luhrmann's biggest blockbuster when he first started becoming a director here in Australia. A life lived in fear is a life half lived. I was going through a lot of fear and trauma when I watched that movie when I was in my early 20s. And that statement changed my life. I knew that I didn't want to live anymore in fear. I knew that I had to fix stuff. And that's why I started on the holistic path to performance and a holistic path of public speaker training. And I do the same thing with my singers and actors. I teach singers and actors and speakers all over the world. And I always start with the emotional connection of our psychology, our past, getting rid of all our trauma and our patterns of self-expression. Sometimes they're not good patterns. We need to change that. And then when we have that emotional connection, everything starts to shift because guess what? All your walls come down. We start to build bridges instead of walls. I don't want you to build walls between you and another person. It's never going to make you happy. It's never going to give you good relationships, and it's never going to make you a confident public speaker or a confident speaker in any scenario. And remember, I'm not here to train you to be the next TED talker. That's not my goal. I want you to be able to find your true, authentic voice of confidence. That's it. That is the most important thing that you can do on this planet. Number one, it'll fix your whole relationship and completely improve your life 100%. And the second part is it will absolutely transform your business too. Guaranteed. So fix number one, the emotional connection. It's 18. Oh, it's early. It's nearly 8 o'clock. That's awesome. Thank you for telling me the time. That's absolutely awesome. Number two, physicality in space. When we meet somebody for the first time, we notice two things. One is the way that they look, and the second is the way that they sound. You know, when we're giving the wrong perception to somebody, it can really hold us back in life. So the very first thing that I ever teach is how to show up in your physical space so you're giving people the right perception. If I walked on stage, like in America, I used to do shows, I used to do one-woman shows. It was called Baroness Elisa, Embarrassing Moments, because I was a baroness for a very long time, married to Baron Gerolimatos in Greece. Anyway, aside from that, I was a baroness singing all these songs and doing a one-woman show in America. If I walked out on stage with my microphone looking sheepish and scared and not looking at people in the face, immediately they're not going to be engaged and they're going to be thinking, what is up with this person? I've just paid money to go and see her sing and perform. There's 2,500 people here. What on earth are we doing wasting our time? If your job is to inspire, if your job is to teach, if your job is to educate or raise somebody's vibration, whatever you do as a service provider, then you must show up 100% the authority in that space. How do you do that? Physicality, you start with that. Sitting up nice and straight. On the edge of your seat, if you present in Zoom like I do all day, sit on the edge of your seat. Don't slump back like this. You cannot breathe and you don't feel like a leader when you slump back. I do not feel powerful in this position. Absolutely not. Sit on the edge of your chair. Make sure that your legs are at right angles to the ground. Your feet are firmly on the ground. Roll your shoulders up, back and down, and make sure that your ears are over your shoulders at all times. Because this position puts you into that lovely strength position as though you could jump up and run without using your hands and without being lazy. You know, if you get up and go, ugh, that is not the position of leadership. You get up fast and you get to it and stay energized. That physicality is so important. Why do you think people in massive events around the world, like Tony Robbins and Brenda Burchard and Lisa Nichols, all these amazing speakers that are out there, they start with music. They start with dancing. Why? Because it raises the energy of the room. It's called entrainment. If you've ever been to a rock concert or even a church where the pastor gets really excited and starts to yell at everybody, everyone gets riled up and excited and clapping and singing, and it gets the energy of the room lifted. It lifts the energy of the room. Oh my God, my hair is driving me crazy. Sorry about that. I look like an idiot. It's okay. So what I want you to do is use your physicality to inspire people. Stand up straight. Open your heart chakra. Open your chest to the world. Look people in the eye. Look people directly in the eye. Now, when you're on stage, you have an awesome opportunity to use up the entire space and fill up the space as your physical self. Tony Robbins does that absolutely every time he speaks. You forget whether he's on the screen or in front of you because his energy and presence fills up the room. It's magical to watch. You go and watch him speak. He's incredible. And live, he's even better. You have to fill up that space with your physicality and look people in the eye. Make sure that they feel like they're important, because that's how you connect with people. It's not about you, the speaker. It's never about you. It's always about the connection with the audience. This is the most important thing that we have to learn as speakers. And that can be shown in your physical presence, your open heart chakra, your open throat chakra. That helps people connect with you. Now, when you're on camera, it's the same thing, but a little bit different. We have to keep our physicality closer to our body, of course, because we can't move around too much. It's too distracting. And we want to talk to one person at a time directly in the lens. In Instagram, directly in the lens. In Facebook and YouTube, directly in the lens. When I'm speaking to you like this and looking directly in your eyes, you're going to have a much better sense of connection than if I watch myself on the screen or look at the other participants on the Zoom. It takes you, the speaker, out of the equation and stops the connection. So make sure whenever you are connecting with your audience, you connect directly eye to eye. And that means your eyeball to the camera lens, whether you like it or not. It takes time to practice. It might feel very uncomfortable at first because it feels weird. There's a camera lens instead of a person. There should be a person. But you know what? Over time, you know that there's a person behind that camera. You know that you're connecting with somebody very deeply because of the way you're speaking. Oh my goodness. I thought I saw steam. Do you see steam behind me? That was really weird. Maybe my light is giving off steam. How strange. I thought something was on fire. Oh my God. Okay, let's check the comments and then we're going to do one last tip. Hey, Amit, it's nice to see you. Hello, hello. It's nice to have you here. And we're watching from Argentina. We've got people all over the world today, which is absolutely fantastic. So number one, we were talking about the emotional connection, your emotional connection to self, your true highest and best self, not your shadow self, and not your limited thinking self, your highest vibration self. An emotional connection also means the emotional connection that you have with another when you are speaking or singing or acting. It doesn't matter. I teach all three. Number two is physicality. How we show up physically in space, whether it's on camera or whether it's in person, these things are super important. You have to show up as your highest and best vibration of self, which means shoulders back, ears over your shoulders, head held high. Be confident and calm because you are here to connect with another human being. You are here to inspire them and inspire them to some sort of action, most probably. You want to help them change their life. You want them to learn a new skill. There's so much that we can do with our voice and our connection in communication. And the last one is the verbal patterns that hold you back. This is probably one of the biggest things that I've seen holding people back. When I teach speaking as a skill to speakers, actors, or singers, it usually starts with two different scenarios. One is the aesthetic quality, which is built by the foundation. In other words, the sound of our voice and the way that we're producing sound. If we're producing sound in a way that makes us sound weak or airy or insecure or too high or too wobbly, it's not going to give people the right message. So that's the aesthetic side, the sound of our voice. The other side is the way that we construct sentences for others to hear. Now, keeping in mind that all speaking is public speaking, all of it. Every time I open my mouth is for the benefit of somebody else. It's not for me. I don't have to speak to myself out loud. I can say whatever I want in my mind and never share it. All speaking is public speaking. You might want to write that down. So the aesthetics have to be taken care of first and then the patterns of speech. So let's just assume that you have a lovely voice. It's really easy to listen to. It's rich, it's full, it's strong. You can project it anytime you want. You can bring the audience in. But here's the thing. Nobody listens to you because you ramble. Nobody listens to you because it's not interesting. Nobody listens to you because your voice trails off at the end of the sentence. Sorry, what did you say? Nobody listens to you because you're making the audience work too hard. Don't make your audience work too hard. Working too hard means that people have to really pay attention when you're speaking because maybe they can't hear you well enough. You're not articulating well enough. Maybe your voice trails off at the end of the sentence, so they lose the last word or the last part of the sentence. Once you do this, I call this predictive patterns, predictive prosody. When we use predictive prosody over and over and over again in speech, people get so used to your pattern that they switch off. If they hear this, for instance, da 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 da, if that's your pattern, then they're going to pick that up very quickly and go, ugh, I know this pattern, I'm going to switch off. And their mind will check out. They'll go somewhere else. That's what happens when we're not effective as communicators. We need to be effective with our children, with our partners, with our business colleagues, and of course, with our clients. We need to be effective in the way that we're constructing sentences. So I hope that all has helped you today. I know it's been a bit of a longer live than normal. I was on a bit of a passionate rant today because I love helping people. And you know, the end of the year is nigh, as they say, but it's not over yet, guys. We've got 3 or 4 weeks until the end of the year. You have an opportunity to put some new skills in place. You have an opportunity to still change your life. Don't throw in the towel, put up the tree and call it a day. Absolutely not. I'm here to kick your butt if you want some training. I'm here to inspire you if you need to put a rocket up your bottom. That's how we say in Australia. So what I want to share with you today is I have 2 workshops coming up to end the year with a bang. It's going to be so awesome. All of my students who are currently in a paid program get this absolutely free. So if you're a current student and you are currently working with me in one of my group mentoring classes or a VIP, just make sure that you let me know that you know about Implementation Day and you get that for free. I'll give you a secret code. You just have a $1 booking fee. That's it. And the rest of it, the whole workshop is free, December 4th and December 11th. Now, I have a few spots only because not all of my students can come this year. They might come next year. I have a few spots available for December 4th. It's an evening time slot in Australia, which means it's going to be perfect for European time zones and Australians who work during the day. And that's going to happen on December 4th at 7 p.m. Now, if you're interested in this workshop, I'm going to ask you to put in the comments below this exact word. Workshop, #workshop. Put in the comments below on Facebook and also underneath the video in YouTube. And then I'm not quite sure how to see those comments in the live though. We'll figure it out. So see, if you join my Facebook group, which is the Aspiring Speakers Club, Find Your Voice Aspiring Speakers Club, I can easily see those comments. I hope that I can see them in YouTube too. Or if you're interested right now, you can put them in the comments right now, and I'll make sure that one of my staff members actually messages you with a secret code that I'm going to develop for you today to give you 50% off, only if you're watching this right now. This is not applicable to anybody else. If you're watching this right now and you're watching this in replay, even #replay, if it's before December 4th, which is this weekend, then you can put in the comments below #workshop, and we will PM you the landing page with the 50% discount code, and that'll bring it down to $49 only for a half day working with me. Now, normally 1 hour with me is $500, but if you want to work for a half day with me, then you're going to do that for $49. It's nothing. And I'm doing this not for money. I'm doing it because I want to help my students move forward. That's why I do what I do. It's not about the money. It's about my passion for helping people speak up and speak out. So I want to be able to work with a few new people just to introduce them to our beautiful students and the way that we work. There's no sale at the end. It's not an upsell. It's not a webinar. It's a half day practice of public speaking and implementation day. So you're going to bring, maybe you want to work on a TED talk. Maybe you want to work on your signature talk, your elevator pitch. Maybe you want to work on putting a webinar together for business, or you want to do your very first video for your website to help promote your business. Or maybe you just want to learn how to speak better and communicate with the people that you love in a more congruent and powerful way. If you're interested in any of that, this is a growth workshop, guys. This is a personal growth space. This is a very big part of your personal and career development. And believe me, there's so much more to speaking than meets the eye or the ear. And when you start to train your brain is going to go, oh my God, I had no idea. And then after you train a few hours with me, your ears change forever and you will never be the same again. Guaranteed. It can be a bit of a pain in the ass because you start to hear people in a very different way. But when you do, your awareness opens up so much. It's incredible. And your whole life begins to change because your awareness is open. And then the way that you speak changes. The way that you listen changes. It's really interesting. So the 2 dates that we've got for public speaking practice and implementation day are December 4th and December 11th. And as I said, it's first in, first served to my students first. So most of the tickets are gone for my students. You can come for free for just a $1 deposit. And the rest, I'm going to open a few places to the public. And this is for people all around the world. So the first date is for European time zones and Australian time zones. And the second date, December 11th, is in a morning time zone in Australia, which means it's perfect for Americans that will come the night before. So for Americans, if you're in American time zones, any of the time zones, that will be Friday night for you, and it'll be Saturday morning if you're in Australia. It's good for the Saturday morning, December 11th will be good for Singapore, American time zones, and Australian time zones for people who can come on a Saturday morning. So that's what it's all about. And if you want to get the discount code, I've got to make it straight after this live today. I'm going to make a special discount code only for the people who are watching us live, and it'll give you 50% off. So instead of paying $97 for the half day, you'll only pay $49 instead. So let's have a look here. So great. Make sure, let's have a look. Facebook user, if you're watching, fantastic. If you're watching in Facebook, I will ask my beautiful assistant, ISOR Jeannie, to watch these comments and make sure that we PM you the secret code and the landing page. Do not put it underneath here. ICE, we only want hashtag workshop. Fantastic. Hi. So we've got a few people doing hashtag workshop. Make sure that you let us know, even if you're watching this on a hashtag replay, this is available to you. All you have to do is type in workshop below, and I will make sure that you get the link and the discount code. Now, if for some reason we don't see your message, I'm just going to give you our email address right now. admin@haps, sorry, my thing is wobbling, voicepro.com, because I'm on a music stand here and it wobbles a little bit. Here is the address. Can you please just write that down? So if it's YouTube is a bit weird. Sometimes when I'm doing a live on YouTube, I can't see the comments after the live is finished, and I have no idea why. It's really strange. So I want to make sure that I'm not missing you. I'm not ignoring you. If I don't see it, please forgive me, because it disappears, and I've got to make sure that I figure out how to do that. If you know how to do that, please let me know. I'd love to know. Otherwise, you can just email my team, admin@hapsvoicepro.com. Maybe we can put that underneath in the comments. If I miss your comment and you want to know about the workshop, we are very happy to email you the landing page and also the coupon code. That's all we need. And you'll have to give us your email eventually anyway, because you need to have the Zoom link and all the details and the follow-ups for that. So that's it for today. We covered lots. We did 3 false beliefs, which is very, very important, and 3 tips: emotional connection, physicality in space, and the verbal patterns that hold you back. And all of these things I'm going to be covering in the workshops on December 4th and December 11th. Yep, fantastic. Thank you so much for showing that and for sharing that. That's fantastic. Awesome. Great. So I hope you guys have got some value out of this today. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone that joined us live. It's been so lovely to see all your comments come in. And remember, it's never, ever too late to improve your skills. Never. If you start now, it doesn't matter how old you are. If you start now, you're going to be somewhere else in 12 months' time. Guaranteed. You know, if you get to 70 and think, I would have loved to be a singer. Well, you know what? If you don't do anything about it at 70, you're going to get to 75 and wake up and say, I really wanted to be a singer, or I really wanted to learn how to sing. You don't want to lose those 5 years. You don't want to lose 1 minute. Time is short on this planet. Make the most of it. Don't let your dreams fly out the window. Don't die and go to your grave with that desire in your heart being unfulfilled. If you want to speak better, if you want to communicate with people better, if you want to have better connections with people, if you want to find a better partner, oh my God, communication is the most important thing that you can work on. It changed my life completely. I can't even reiterate that enough. So what does it mean, tip 3? Oh, Lizzie Bunny, thank you for joining us. Tip 3. Oh, you might have missed the teaching of that. So if you joined in late, perhaps you might have missed it. The verbal patterns. Okay, let me just go over the verbal patterns again, because Lizzie just asked me about that. Verbal patterns. So for instance, if you're monotone, that's a verbal pattern that builds walls, not bridges. The monotone stops people from listening to you. That's a verbal pattern that holds you back. Another one is asking questions with every single time you make a sentence. It makes you sound really insecure. So that's another verbal pattern that will hold you back. If you're speaking in a strong way and then your voice sort of trails off at the end, people can't understand what you said because it wasn't clear enough. That is a verbal pattern that will hold you back. So I call these disempowering vocal sounds, and I will cover all of these at the workshop and teach you how to get rid of them. So at least in a half-day workshop, you'll be able to smash some of these patterns off the page forever, because your awareness will be changed. It's a pretty good deal for a half-day workshop. You get to work with me and all of my students, and they are awesome, awesome, beautiful people, and you will love them because I love them too. We all have very, very good connection in class. Yes, you're very, very welcome. You're very, very welcome. No worries at all, because you can actually watch the replay. So as soon as this is finished, you can watch a replay. Make sure that you write down this, Lizzie, if you want to come, or and Mystic, if you want to come, just make sure that you write down admin@Haps Voice Pro before I sign off. And then that way, if you want to join us for the workshop, you will get all the information. I can just send that to you by email. All right. You are very, very welcome. And have a wonderful day, everybody. I'm Elisa James, Holistic Voice and Presentation Coach. Signing off from Sydney, Australia today. I will see you on Friday. I have an amazing guest for my live show on Friday. I'll see you then. Bye.